enough is enough. Enough is enough. Say, enough is enough.
Enough is enough.
Keep your eye on the south of America. Keep your eye on the south of America.
Multiple explosions and low-flying aircraft were seen in Caracas in the early hours of Saturday morning. Maduro's government immediately accused the US of an imperialist attack on civilian and military installations. US President Donald Trump posted on Truth Social that Maduro had been, along with his wife, captured and flown out of the country. He added that the operation was done in conjunction with US law enforcement. The apparent attack itself lasted less than 30 minutes. Trump said in his social media post that the strike was carried out successfully.
Young Hispanics shall suddenly rise up, for they shall say, look, the Lord has delivered us from wicked leader in Venezuela. And God says, look how I take these young people, and a new music arise.
Thanks to President Trump and the military of the United States of America, because thanks to them and to the power of them, we are free. Viva Venezuela Libre.
Seen my dad cry 3 times in my life. His dad dying, Fidel dying, and today. And I think it is just, it's a time to be here. It's historic.
A band of young people from Syria, Iran, and Afghanistan shall defy the beast of the East. They shall defy Islam. And they shall say, we will not be bashed down to a God that is dead.
Protests in Iran stretch into their 9th day and grow deadlier. Rights groups and state media claim protesters and security forces were killed, though they dispute how many died. A cratering currency, rolling blackouts, and water shortages in the capital, igniting anger. Iran's president admitted the regime is at fault and replaced the central bank governor. Israel's prime minister suggested the Iranian people could take their fate into their own hands.
If they start killing people like they have in the past, I think they're going to get hit very hard by the United States.
American President Donald Trump repeated his threat that the U.S. could get involved.
Welcome to Analysis. What a week as we begin the year of 2026. Not only have we seen the uprisings in Iran, but also what has happened in Venezuela. And so I've got Christy Desfontaine here with me, as usual, and we're going to have a look at some stuff my dad prophesied. Especially, we're going to start with Venezuela. But it's actually all connected, isn't it, Christy?
It really is. And just the fact that your dad said that the people would cry enough is enough. You know, and we're looking at Venezuela, Iran, however you want to look at it. We're seeing what happens when socialism, tyranny, and godlessness collide. And we have to know that as America, we have to interpret what's happening with these moments with prophetic truth, not with media spin. And that's why it's so important for us to look at the prophecies that your dad gave. And again, Donnie, you know, all those years ago, I know he didn't know what was happening from a geopolitical perspective. He didn't think about that. You know, the man's brain was full of music and the word and all these other things. He wasn't, you know, some big sort of historical, geographical savant. It really was God speaking to him, and I think we see this so clearly. And so we have to interpret this through a prophetic lens. We have to look at this from the perspective of what was God saying. And there's such a powerful word that I know we're about to go to where your dad specifically names Venezuela and the youth uprising. And I'm very excited for everybody to see this. And we are going to be covering this more in the partner segment after the broadcast. So make sure you stick with us for that. But let's go to this prophecy from April 14th of 2012 from Nashville, Tennessee. Kim was on fire this day.
The Spirit of God says, look, nations of the earth. And God says, you think I cannot dethrone you? In North Korea, keep your eye open, God says. Before the summer months, you will say, look what's happening in North Korea. And this shall be a sign to you that I am causing leaders that have wicked intentions to be brought down. So, who will lead this nation? Who shall I place at the helm? God said, I've chosen myself. Yes, I've chosen myself. I, the Lord, will change the hearts of the people in this nation. They will be declaring, enough is enough. Enough is enough. Say, enough is enough.
Enough is enough.
Keep your eye on the south of America. Keep your eye on the south of America. God says how I'm going to reveal my light. Young people, young Cubans, young Spanish people, young Hispanics shall suddenly rise up. For they shall say, look, the Lord has delivered us from wicked leader in Venezuela. And God says, look how I take these young people and a new music arise, a new Latin music arise, comes forth. And this will infiltrate through the Middle Eastern music as well and go right into Israel and America. And there shall be joyful sounds coming from the house of the Lord, says the Lord.
Wow, that is very hopeful in this moment where we're just on the cusp of what is going to happen, not only in Venezuela, which is, by the way, connected to Iran, and the way in which it is that, number one, all the stuff with the oil and protecting the Western hemisphere from China, Russia, Iran, North Korea. I think it's called CRINC. China, Russia, Iran, North Korea. That's what they're called, CRINC. And what Trump has done is secure not only our border now, but it is securing the entire Western hemisphere from foreign interference, which is causing a lot of problems in this country. You have so much just propaganda that's used. So many politicians are being bought off. They're starting to talk about the Venezuela list because now that they have Maduro, people are speculating. It's all speculation at this stage. We have to see what happens. But what we do know is that by weakening and taking out Maduro and taking control of that, it's not about oil in that we need oil. If you listen to Marco Rubio talk about it, he will explain it's not about America needing Venezuela's oil, but rather stopping Russia and China and Iran from dealing in our hemisphere, not only with oil, but with the drugs that have been coming into our country, and how many corrupt politicians have been paid off. So, Christy, we see sometimes these politicians come out and they start doing crazy things. The other day in Minnesota, in Minneapolis, when all the scandal was breaking out, there was that one woman, I forget what her position in government is, but she had put the thing on her head and she's trying to, and so you see these people making sometimes complete fools of themselves. I think it's the mayor of Minneapolis that was trying to dance around, and you can see they're sort of mocking him, but these are people who are obviously getting paid. They're part of some kind of financial something. So this is part of the what is being exposed.
Yes.
But it's absolutely brilliant. And I just think of Dad, February 22nd, 2014, when he prophesied so much stuff, but he particularly prophesied about Trump. And And he said, the plan is so brilliant, it could only have come from me, as in from
Yes.
God.
Yes.
And you start to see how he's using this administration to set a lot of things right. No matter the screaming and shouting and complaining and everybody's throwing their toys out of the cot and everybody's clutching their pearls, how could he, when there was a $25 million bounty that Biden put on Maduro's head, now all of a sudden
literally.
they're marching for the dictator.
Yeah.
There's no, like you see with the Palestinian protesters, nobody is out protesting or in support of the Iranian people. And these are real, actual dictators, while they turn and call Trump a dictator.
Yes.
And so I also heard a lot about leaking and things like that, that Trump was concerned about. So when they questioned him about, why didn't you ask Congress?
Well, he's
first
afraid
all,
of
he
it
didn't
getting
because
out.
of the way they did it. That was brilliant.
Yeah.
But he specifically said in the press conference that people leak, and that would have destroyed the whole thing.
Yeah.
And I've heard rumor of certain politicians trying to call Maduro and didn't get him in time. So these are American politicians. Numerous of them have visited Maduro, brought him to visit here in America. There is a very corrupt relationship there. And so that's why we see the reaction from certain politicians. And this is, it may more heavily be on the Democrat side because they're the ones leaning towards the socialism, communism, not leaning towards, they're basically, look at Mamdani. But, you can really see when people talk about Trump as playing chess, that you can really see how when he makes these moves, they are carefully thought out and there is a long game.
Yeah.
Which is, it's sort of prophetic in itself, that you have to be looking forward to, okay, these actions, I'm not just going to be fulfilling the needs of whatever people are demanding of me in this moment, but seeing how can we in the long term fix some of these issues. Dad prophesied he would build the walls of protection around this nation, what he would do for the economy. And so we're starting to see those things. I've been saying it a lot in the midst of this, is we're in the middle of it. We're in the middle of it right now, but we have these prophecies.
We do.